Good morning, Ella. You have all the judges on board?
Just following up with one more.
This is 8:30. The teams in the morning are all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we start then? Because it's already 8:30.
Okay, I'll start, ma'am. Distinguished panel of judges, guests, teachers, and students, welcome to the last day of the 22nd cycle of Interschool Environmental Public Speaking Competition. Ramadan Mubarak. My name is Ella Gaspar and I will be your host for today. We will commence the last day of the competition with the national anthem of the United Arab Emirates. Let's all please rise. We will now listen to a few verses from the Holy Quran to set the right tone for the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Now, please join me as we welcome the co-founder and chairperson of Emirates Environmental Group, Mrs. Habiba Al-Marashi, for her opening address and updates from the sub-senior competition that took place yesterday, 18th and 19th April. Ma'am, your mic is on mute.
Thank you, Ella. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear students, dear teachers, judges, attendees, ahla wa sahla. Thank you very much for joining us in the fourth and last day of our competition, the Inter-School Environmental Public Speaking Competition. It's rather astonishing to see that this competition has been running, mashallah, for more than 2 decades. Looking back, we are thrilled to see the ability of this national competition to unite students from different nationalities, different backgrounds, different curriculums, who all come together to compete in this one-of-a-kind nationwide competition. From the time that we developed this program, our aim was to enable more participation, to get more students from different schools on this platform, to encourage critical thinking, research, build confidence, the ability to speak in front of an audience, and to discourse on environmental issues. Throughout the history of this competition, we always try to improve on it, to enable more and more students to join. So we are delighted that this year we have managed to expand this program from just 2 days to 4 days. And this is a big achievement, and alhamdulillah, we have finished 3 days, and today is the 4th day and the last day. One of the things that we did this year as well is we did a thorough survey amongst all the schools from the different categories, and we did a sampling and to see if they would like to attend physical event or a virtual event. And we saw that many schools were still hesitant to come physically, particularly from the other Emirates. Therefore, we opted to continue doing this program as a virtual program. This is the 3rd year that we are doing it as a virtual program. But inshallah, I pray next year we will be able to do this as a physical event. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our co-sponsor, UNAS, who has come on board as a co-sponsor for the 2nd year in a row. Thank you, UNAS. Your participation, your contribution really helps this program to expand it. And it shows your commitment to environmental education and the importance that you place on building the capacity of the future generation. So that is highly appreciated. As for my dear judges, I thank you and I appreciate your contribution, your participation, your sharing with your expertise to this competition, yesterday as well as today. MashaAllah, in this course of the 4 days, we have had 9 judges, 4 in the first 2 days and 5 in this 2 days, yesterday and today. In the life of Emirates Environmental Group, which is more than 30 years now, environmental education has been one of our pillars. Really, it has been the backbone of the work that we do in the country. And we try to find the perfect ways to integrate academic disciplines, stimulate academic and social development of the young minds, and promote conservation of the natural environment. And we are delighted to see many of the schools that we work with have finely and nicely incorporated environmental education into their curriculum and as extra curriculum as well. These all help to transmit knowledge about the present situation that we have and the future possibilities for protecting and preserving nature. I thank the teachers for taking time to explain to their students the whole concept of this competition, the difficult topics and important topics that were placed this year for the students to compete on. Research shows that climate change is one of the most serious threats that humanity is facing today. But this problem is not in silo. It is intertwined with many other issues and is connected with the production and consumption habits. It is connected very well with technical and political progress. So it is important that we get the public involved in the efforts to achieve an ecologically sustainable society. Because unfortunately, who is going to suffer from this? The future generations are the ones that are going to suffer. But since we look at them as if future leaders of the society, one could argue that this group is the most important group to include in societal deliberations about these vital and important topics. You will be, inshallah, all graduating soon, going to universities. It will help. You will be deciding what career path you want to take, which subject matters to study, what do you specialize in. These kind of platforms helps you to guide you to the right direction. And we hope really that you will take science and science education as your career path. And you will then contribute effectively in dealing with the challenges that are there and finding effective solutions to them. Throughout our programs, we try to map and align what we are doing with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals as were rolled out in 2016. So this particular program as well is connected with the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is quality education for all, everywhere at all times. And that is how we are imparting environmental education to the future generation. But in addition to that, the topics that we are covering through this competition have got all connectivity directly with several UN SDGs. And one of the things that I would like to emphasize here is to the dear teachers, please take time in your classes to bring these 17 goals and deliberate, explain, discuss with the student, what do these goals mean to us on the individual level? What does it mean to them as students? And how can they take these to guide them to the right path, to the sustainability path that we all aspire to have? So again, I tell my students always, it shouldn't just be a competition for you. It will be a platform for you to learn, for you to deliberate, for you to discuss, for you to network, for you to share. You are sharing a lot of good information, a lot of good researches. And in the last 3 days, we have got the latest that is out there. And I salute the teachers and the students who have worked hard to bring this kind of information and knowledge to us. One of the nice news that I would like to share with you, that in spite of the restrictions that we had and the schools, still settling, coming back from, getting out of COVID and coming back slowly to normal life, this year has recorded the second highest registration and participation since the inception of this program in 2001. So we have a total of 424 students, alhamdulillah, from 89 teams competing in this competition from all over the country, private and government, different curriculums as well. So thank you very much for enriching this program and continuing to make it a success. The topics that we have chosen has got a story behind it. It's not the team in the EEG that decides which are the topics to be competed on. It's actually you. You are the students, you are the teachers. So when you will be receiving the feedback forms today, which will be sent to you, inshallah, at the end of the competition, please take time, 2 minutes, to fill them up. Put in there what are the suggested topics that you would like us to cover next year. So built on that is what we actually do. We take all these topics that come from the feedbacks that we receive, so you contribute effectively to that process. We put them under special themes, so we thematize them, and then we send it out to a wide pool of resourceful people that we have, environmental experts in different spheres and fields. And the topics that vote the highest are the ones that we bring them out to be the topics to be competed on for next year. So you will definitely decide what are the topics that the students will compete on in 2023. So please make sure that you think about it well and you make the right choices. And when we look at what the students bring to us in this competition, you will see that they are able to identify the problems that is there. They come up with strong research from the global level. They put practical solutions in their opinion that should help deal with that particular problem in an innovative way. And these are important for future generation to understand the path forward. As I mentioned, today is the last day. So what were the topics that we competed over the last 3 days? The first day we had water security and food security. Correlated, that's the question we asked. And mashallah, we had 27 teams competing, and it was a very, very tough and competitive environment. And the winner was, on that particular topic, Dubai National School, Al Barsha for girls. The second day was the topic, conserving the true lungs of the planet, key to preventing climate change. And we had the highest number of teams participating under this topic, 28 teams from all over the UAE as well. And the winning school in this topic was Global Indian International School. As for yesterday's topic was growing cities, redesigning infrastructure towards net zero. So you can see how much thought is going behind coming up with these strong issues, bringing them to the fore, sensitizing the student community about these critical and important issues, opening their horizons and to think wide and to look at the different perspectives and to understand sustainability in all its manifestation. So yesterday's winner was our own English High School, Fujairah. Today is the last day, and you are the students in the age category of 16 to 18, as was like yesterday as well. That is the senior category for us. The topic that we have put on the table is a controversial. A lot of discussion is going on the global level and in the different parts of the world. And it's a fact that we are seeing it every day in our lives. Industrial animal agriculture, a compelling contributor to climate change. So we hope that you will actually give us very good answers, responses, suggest solutions. I personally am looking forward to be educated by you, to enrich my knowledge base, to get more facts, to get the latest that is out there with regards to this subject matter. So I would like to conclude with this. Thank you all for joining us and wishing you all the best of luck, inshallah. Speak as you are. Don't be intimidated. This is a good opportunity for you to learn what you are all about and to understand your capacities and to discover what your internal potential. Bring it out. Get out of your comfort zones and focus on the subject matter in front of you. And inshallah, you will all excel. We look forward to listen to all of you. And today, as you know, we will have the winner of the fourth topic, as well as we will have the overall winner from the all 4 topics. The school that has registered the highest scores, inshallah, will be going home with the rolling trophy. So without further ado, I would like to give the platform back to Ella so that we can start the competition. Thank you very much, Ella.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Habiba, for that lovely and motivational speech. The achievements of Emirates Environmental Group, even in trying times, in ensuring that educational programs are being rolled out annually, are really remarkable and truly deserve a round of applause. Again, we would like to give a big thanks to UNAS for coming on board as our co-sponsor. So UNAS UAE is the Middle East's definitive home of luxury. UNAS presents a carefully curated edit of exclusive capsules collections from local and international designers of the highest caliber. Housing the Middle East's widest range of top-tier designs, UNAS boasts over 1,500 luxury brands since launching in December 2016 as Altair's Group's first exclusively digital luxury e-commerce platform. Dedicated to impeccable local talent and local service alike, UNAS currently operates exclusively within the Middle East. An extensive array of opulent collections and coveted seasonal pieces is presented through a tailored website, app, and personal shopping service. The Inter-School Environmental Public Speaking Competition was first introduced in 2001, with 25 schools participating in a one-day event, and the number of participants has been increasing ever since. This year, we are proud to announce the growth of the competition to 89 teams from private and government schools from all over the UAE. Each year, we invite a distinguished panel of bilingual experts to judge the competition. And this year, we will have a total of 9 judges. 4 for the sub-senior category, and 5 for the senior category. Today, for the second day and last day of the senior category, we will have with us Dr. Hiba Bukosa, Adjunct Assistant Professor at College of Humanities and Sciences at Ajman University, Ms. Afra Majid Mohammad Majid Aluways, Engineer Conservation at Sharjah Electricity, Water and Gas Authority, Ms. Nagam Amin Hassan, Applied Math and Science Assessment Lead at Emirates School Establishment ESE, and Mr. Majid Al-Herbawi, Director Animal Development and Health Department at Ministry of Climate Change and Environment. Respected judges, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules and for joining us today. It is highly appreciated. Dear teachers, please stay active on your social media during the day, and we will share constant updates on the competition on our platforms. Do not forget to use the hashtags that you have seen on the screens earlier. And we would like to appreciate your engagement on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Social media is a powerful tool which can help spread awareness on the significant issues that we will be discussing today and showcase your wonderful teams as an example to motivate other schools to join the future competitions. So before we move on to our presentations, I would like to emphasize some housekeeping rules and pointers for you to remember. Now, each team will be given 7 minutes and not more. Please remember that it is only 7 minutes and not more. The team will hear 2 bells. The first bell is a single bell and indicates 5 minutes. And the second bell is a continuous bell that indicates 7 minutes. Points will be deducted if the teams exceed allotted time of 7 minutes. And points will also be deducted if the speakers are merely reading from their papers and their PC. Dear teams, don't leave the virtual platform to avoid missing the presentation slot and to benefit from the learnings of each presentation. Do stay with us till the end of the event, as we will be also sharing the scores in the screen. There is a total of 50 points for the competition. Each judge will allocate the points on the basis of A, clarity of speech and teamwork, that's 10 points. Originality of ideas, that's 15 points. Assessment of environmental impact and suggested solution, 15 points. And lastly, presentations of research evidence, 10 points. Throughout the history of this competition, the winners and runners-up are awarded on stage at each day of the event. But since this is conducted virtually, that is not possible. Therefore, we will be delivering the trophies and the certificates at the winner's academic institution by next week. I repeat, after announcing today's winner, we will be delivering the trophies and the mounted certificates at each of the winning institution by next week. As it is the holy month of Ramadan, we will only have 2 breaks today. 1 short break in the morning to refresh and to do some stretching, and 1 final break at the end of all the presentations. And after the final break, we will have the awarding ceremony. Please be mindful about your presentation slots, which have shown earlier in the screen. Kindly note that everyone is required to stay online and finish the whole program. An email that contains the feedback link will be shared to your teachers after the event. Please note that all the teachers and students are required to fill up this feedback form so that we can issue you your certificates. I repeat, an email that contains the feedback link will be sent to your teachers after the event. Please note that all the teachers and students are required to answer the feedback forms to enable us to issue the certificates. I would also like to bring into your attention that we have sent a virtual backdrop in celebration of Earth Day, which I can see that you are all using. So please, for those who haven't used it, please do use it so that we can start with the group picture. Okay, please open your camera so that we can take a group picture before we officially start. Okay, I think that's all good. So I would like to request all participants to be aware of the time allotted again, as we have quite a number of presentations today. So therefore, please, let's all make an effort to stick to our schedule. And a word of advice for the students presenting right after a break, please make sure you return a few minutes before the break is over so that we can start your presentation exactly on time. So without further ado, today we will witness presentations from the senior category involving students between the age of 16 and 18, and they will be performing on the topic Industrial Animal Agriculture, a compelling contributor to climate change. Let us now begin with the presentations, and our first presentation of the day is by Leaders Private School, Sharjah. Dear juries, the first presenters are from Leaders Private School, Sharjah. Just a moment while we give you the co-host.
Excuse me, is my screen visible?
Yes, screen, and we can hear you also. You can start.
Yes.
Friends, get ready to stay at the edge of your seats. It was a bright red morning filled with the beaming rays of the sun. You hear the whispers of the birds and the calls of the animals. The loud alarm wakes you up like a thunderbolt. As soon as you step outside your bedroom door, a surprise awaits you. What used to be your comfy living room has turned into a barren land of cracks. You walk through the room despite the pain under your feet. As you peek through your window, you see oceans of water flooding through.
Tired of thinking, you decide to leave your house, only to be welcomed by a swarm of locusts. The once green trees appear to be as brown as the hay, with not a single bud above it. As you step back with fear, you fall into a rough surface, which surprisingly felt normal on your skin. It was your bedroom floor. You let out a sigh of relief, only to realize that we humans are just a step away from facing this reality.
Think about it. If we humans continue to call climate change a hoax and do not take any actions against it, the bitter truth is that we might face a much worse future. Finding it hard to believe? Let's do a quick fact check.
Industrial animal agriculture contributes to 18% of the global greenhouse gas emissions, which is more than the combined number of automobiles, planes, and the transport sector.
7 football fields of land are bulldozed worldwide every minute to create more room for the farmed animals.
The amount of waste produced by factory farms is 13 times more than that produced by the entire US population.
Tackling the issue of climate change begins with understanding the root of the issue. One might blame pollution or even deforestation. While it's not completely wrong to do so, it is essential that we bring out the light on the major reason for climate change.
Taking a deeper look into the problem can help us in solving this puzzle.
Industrial animal agriculture is the large-scale, intensive production of animals, often involving harmful use of antibiotics in animals.
Now, it's undoubtedly true that animal agriculture does put a heavy strain on many of the Earth's finite resources. It is in fact the second largest contributor to the human-made greenhouse gas emissions after the fossil fuels, and is the leading cause of deforestation, water and air pollution, and biodiversity loss.
As a matter of fact, in order to accommodate the 70 billion animals raised annually for human consumption, a third of the planet's ice-free land surface, as well as 16% of global freshwater is utilized.
But The question that still remains in our head is that how could animals be possibly reasonable for climate change?
Animal agriculture is linked to 55% of erosion, 60% of nitrogen pollution, and 70% of the global dietary phosphorus footprint.
What we often ignore in the hunt for economic benefits is the harmful side effects that come along with industrial animal agriculture.
It's of no surprise that animals raised through factory farming emit harmful levels of carbon dioxide and methane gas. The transportation of these animals that follows is made possible because of certain chemicals used to prolong their freshness, which in turn contributes to water and air pollution.
These effects finally accumulate to a devil called global warming.
Furthermore, animal agriculture significantly affects the UN Sustainable Development Goals, specifically
SDG 12, responsible consumption and production.
SDG 13, climate action.
SDG 14, life below water.
SDG 15, life on land.
While exploring the numerous problems caused by animal agriculture, I'm pretty sure all one of us might have asked ourselves the question of what should I do?
as they say, in a world full of problems, be the solution. The UAE has been making extensive efforts to build a sustainable animal well industry that is better able to contribute to its national economy. Let's not forget that small steps can make a huge difference.
Unfortunately, there is no magic bullet or one size fits all solution to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions in animal agriculture.
But you could start at your doorstep and go on to change the world with a meaningful initiative.
On one hand, going vegan is a great option. Reducing your consumption of meat, dairy, and eggs can go a long way into discouraging the practice of animal agriculture.
The effects of large scale deforestation caused by industrial animal agriculture can be compensated by taking eco friendly methods, which could range from afforestation to using recycled products.
Implementing the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals is definitely another great approach towards food and farming requirements.
There are a number of other things that you could do at your home to give your part towards solving this problem. Start shopping for meat raised under higher animal welfare conditions. Surprisingly, some of the most famous brands of meat come from animals raised in inhospitable conditions.
Become an active member in opposing the rise of factory farms. Organize a campaign or sign petitions. Last but not the least, never forget the power of spreading awareness. Encourage your community about the ill effects of animal agriculture.
There might be 100 more solutions to the problem being discussed here. But one thing that remains very clear to us is that we humans are capable of both destruction and creation. We must solve the problem we have created before the time runs out. Let us not be too late to save our beautiful planet, our one and only place to reside in. Let's stop turning a blind eye to the crying Mother Nature. Let's join our hands to make a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leaders Private School, Sarja. Dear juries, the next presenters are from the Millennium School, Dubai. The Millennium School, Dubai. Dear juries, the next presenters are from the Millennium School, Dubai.
Animal agriculture is the second largest contributor to human-made greenhouse gas emissions after fossil fuels. 18% of global greenhouse gas emissions are caused by the livestock industry. Farms for rearing livestock already cover 1/3 of the world's total land and more than 2/3 of its agricultural land.
Due to animal agriculture, the earth has lost more than 2/3 of wildlife biomass in the past 50 years. The byproduct of the digestion of sheep and cows is methane, a powerful greenhouse gas. This is a problem of today that will ultimately lead to no tomorrow.
Stop. I think we know a few solutions.
Managing livestock waste. Keeping animals and their waste out of streams, rivers, and lakes keeps nitrogen and phosphorus out of the water and restores stream banks. Pasture-based livestock farming reintegrates the cycle, putting livestock in grass or in another natural environment where they can roam freely, eat the plants or insects they naturally digest, and improve the fertility of the soil.
Don't underestimate the impact you have as an individual growing your own food without chemicals. You'll have a better understanding of regenerative farming and will be able to reward yourself with organic in-season produce.
Minimize consumption of red meat, our most carbon-intensive food.
Animal
Can someone ask these cartoons to go back to Disneyland? These solutions are getting boring.
Let's show them something new. Shreya, I think it's our time to shine.
We introduce to you Project Peace on Your Plate, a project that redefines the future of animal agriculture.
Peace on Your Plate is a comprehensive national program that takes the best of what technology has to offer and turns it into a large-scale program involving people from the root level, from farmers to even students.
This program has mainly 3 key features: the feed additive, the methane fuel converter, and lastly, the Peace on Your Plate app.
Now, Peace on Your Plate isn't just another mere boring national program. It's a new tool against climate change, and it's a game, and we need your help.
We now move on to the first key feature, the Peace on Your Plate feed additive. The leading cause of increased methane emissions is from the animal agriculture, is their nutrient-lacking dietary habits, low quality, and poor feeds.
Advancement of technology has helped us get our hands on our very own feed additive, one that reduces carbon footprint and is made with algae.
After the algae is processed, ground into powder, and is brought out to the feedlots, it is mixed into the animal feed.
Small amounts of the additive have a huge impact on countering the cattle methane emissions. Farmers will be provided with this on a periodic basis free of cost. All they have to do is add this to their feeds and observe their cattle's diet.
Next, we have one of the most exciting segments of the program, the Peace on Your Plate app, a rewards and learning application for potentially every smartphone user that aims to be a smart consumer.
The biggest way to lower animal agriculture emissions is through cutting out animal-based products completely and growing your own organic produce. This is where we get overwhelmed with our next few steps. We are here to help you with exactly that.
On the Learning Hub, one can find various environment-friendly ways to grow their own produce at home. And farmers can get on the farmer feature and learn how to make their farming techniques more sustainable.
Once a user uses the Learning Hub feature, they will be rewarded with 50 tokens. A cumulative of 200 tokens will let the user avail exciting vouchers. Schools, organizations, and institutions can compete to be the top few on the leaderboard.
This feature will not only incentivize the usage of these environmentally conscious features, but also bring out more local connections through our initiative.
Lastly, the methane to fuel converter. Ruminant livestock can produce 250 to 500 liters of methane per day. Over a 20-year period, methane is 80 times more harmful than carbon dioxide.
Using electricity, we can convert methane into derivatives of methanol, a liquid that can be made into automotive fuel.
The feed additive will minimize methane emissions. Farmers, along with the feed additive, will also be provided with a unit that converts the remaining methane to an automotive fuel.
We need to deal with this today if we want a brighter tomorrow, or even a tomorrow at all, which is why we have aligned with SDGs 12 and 13 to protect our environment.
We would like to conclude with a
So, with a smog, they stumble into another open prison. The grass so synthetically rich.
Fed meals till they're deemed fit to be one. Chained, helpless herds. Spots seeming darker with every breath.
Lands collapse for every kernel captured. Even the endless ocean finds its limits as gallons go in to prepare the feed. Killed, lost, sold.
Every creature turns into a commodity, but as the farmer reels them in for their last few months of ignorant life.
He doesn't realize he's choosing himself or the hungry world, but soon enough, they'll see they've forgotten to breathe.
Thank you.
Thank you, the Millennium School Dubai. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Indian School Al Ain. Juries, the next school are from Indian School Al Ain.
Judges, are the screen visible? Is the screen visible?
Yes, you can see it.
My dear teammates, Jacob, Philip, Asha, Michelle, are your mics unmute?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well and good. We'll be starting our presentation in 3, 2, 1, start.
Though much of the world is focused on transitioning from fossil fuels as a way to fight climate change, there is another often overlooked climate change culprit: industrial animal agriculture. Respected judges and esteemed dignitaries, my name is Jacob Sadish, one of the students addressing the impact of industrial animal agriculture, together with Asher, Benito, Michelle, and Phil. Our presentation encompasses the complications of factory farming in relation to climate change, alongside measures and alternatives that are conducive to its resolution. Concentrated animal farming operations are the second largest contributors to human-made greenhouse gas emissions and have been one of the leading causes of global warming.
The livestock sector is by far the biggest source of emission from animal agriculture, with one recent study showing average beef consumptions creates 2,000 pounds of carbon dioxide emissions annually. Tackling climate change through livestock, a widely cited 2013 report by the UN Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that around 7.1 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent can be attributed to the livestock sector alone annually. This is broadly equivalent to all the emission by the world's transport vehicles, which includes cars, trucks, boats, trains, airplanes, etc. Animal agriculture specifically accounts to 5% of anthropogenic carbon dioxide emissions and represents 44% of anthropogenic methane emissions, the primary driver of climate change related to livestock, as methane is 34 times more potent than carbon dioxide over the next 100 years. Methane is released by a process called enteric fermentation, which occurs in the digestive tract of ruminant animals like cattle, where food is broken down by microorganisms and methane is released as a byproduct.
Our Earth is a place of finite resources, and an immoderate and unrestrained use of them will only lead to their inevitable depletion. Two such major resources are our land and water, and animal agriculture certainly puts a heavy strain on them. Did you know that in order to accommodate the 70 billion animals raised annually for human consumption, over 45% of the Earth's total land and 70% of the Earth's agricultural land is allocated? Also, something that many are unaware of is that livestock grazing and animal farming are some of the top causes of deforestation. For example, 1 to 2 acres of rainforest is cleared every second just for animal agriculture. And every meat meal we consume is the result of over 55 square feet of rainforest being cleared. While millions of people all over the world are suffering from water scarcity, huge amounts of fresh water is being used up in animal agriculture. For example, a single cow grown for milk needs over 50 gallons of water every single day, and it takes around 2,500 gallons of water just to produce a single pound of meat. These values that we have presented here and the problems that we have brought into light are just the ones we face in the present. But according to many sources, by 2050, the consumption of meat and dairy products is expected to rise 76 and 64% respectively, which is only going to increase the resource burden of the industry.
The UAE government has instigated effective strategies to combat climate change. One such is the Climate Innovation Exchange Forum at Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week to facilitate the sourcing and funding of climate change solutions and technologies through partnerships with youth, entrepreneurs, innovators, and investors. Another approach is the implementation of the National Climate Change Plan 2050 by the UAE Cabinet. The plan is a comprehensive framework to support the transition to a climate-resilient green economy. The Cabinet also launched the National Climate Adaptation Program to assess the climate adaptation potential of 4 key sectors, namely health, energy, infrastructure, and environment.
Going vegan or limiting the consumption of meat is the best course of action for an individual to do their part against the ill effects of industrial animal agriculture. Ideally, the entire population denouncing meat would have a greenhouse gas mitigation potential of 8, which is equivalent to the emissions that were avoided through the global use of nuclear power in 2018. But many are reluctant to change their lifestyle as they love the taste of meat. For them, plant-based meats are a great solution. They are meat products entirely made of plant-based ingredients and are almost identical in shape, taste, and texture to regular meat. They use 47 to 99% less land than conventional meat and produce 30 to 90% less greenhouse gases. They also use 75 to 99% less water in their production. American startups like Beyond Meat and Impossible Burgers are striving to make the alternative accessible to all and have made numerous innovations in the field. However, there are many under the false impression that they can't survive without eating meat. Here is where cultured meat products come into play. They are meat products that are grown in a lab from just a single cell of the parent animal. Through this process, scientists are able to produce authentic meat without any of the threats posed by conventional meat. The world's first commercial sale of cell-cultured meat occurred in December 2020 at the Singaporean restaurant 1880, where cell-cultured meat manufactured by the US firm Eat Just was sold.
Problems are meant to be solved. One innovative solution that we came up with to tackle the climate change caused by animal farming is the CMMS, which stands for Centralized Methane Management System. It is a sustainable and eco-friendly system that uses the harmful methane gas for use for human requirements. It takes place in a closed warehouse so that no methane gas can be let out into the atmosphere. An oxygen pump periodically pumps oxygen for the cattle to breathe. Simultaneously, a methane pump sucks the harmful methane gas and passes through a catalytic converter to make it less toxic. A portion of this methane gas can be used as biogas for cooking and household requirements. It can also be compressed and converted into liquid methane and used as rocket fuel. Cow dung can be used as manure in crop fields.
The renowned Australian paleontologist Tim Flannery quoted, "One of the biggest obstacles to making a start on climate change is that it has become a cliche before it has even been understood." Alongside progress, it is imperative to realize that we are dealing with a hurdle resembling a multivariate, demanding incisive measures that ensure we don't overlook or remain ignorant of any factor that could pose a threat to our planet's well-being. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Indian School Al Ain. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Dubai National School Al Barsha Girls. Dubai National School Al Barsha Girls.
Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Why is it that when we consider environmental risks, we prefer to think of vehicles and smokestacks rather than dinner? Regardless, a fact to consider is that our insatiable appetite for meat is one of the greatest threats to our planet. Agriculture is one of the most significant contributors to climate change, emitting more greenhouse gases than all of our cars, trucks, trains, and airplanes combined. Given the fact that the global agricultural production has doubled 4 times between 1820 and 1975, a recognizable detail.
Today, roughly 94% of all animals farmed for human consumption are raised on factory farms. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is called industrial animal agriculture, which is the mass industrialization of the breeding, raising, and slaughter of animals for human consumption in a way that is usually meant to increase productivity while decreasing expenses.
To say the least, you've lost critical habitat by destroying grassland and woodland for farms, with 91% of the Amazon forest land already destructed. You want more numbers? We got you. According to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, 1/3 of the planet's farmable land is occupied by crops for livestock feed, and almost 1/3 of the world's water is being consumed due to animal products. Isn't it mind-blowing to discover that the production of just one hamburger through its different supply chain milestones requires enough fossil fuel to drive a small car 20 miles?
Not to forget waste management issues resulting from unethical animal practices are proven to have extreme consequences on the environment. This industry alone is responsible for 14.5 to 16.5% of greenhouse gas emissions and accounts for 36% of methane emissions, which are proven to have 80 times more warming power than CO2. Nowadays, animals on commercial farms are crammed so close together that they create more manure and waste than the earth can absorb as fertilizer, and instead polluting rivers and groundwater severely. The birth of this industrialization stems from the need for food security. Hence, it can be no surprise that demand towards meat production in our current generation is undoubtedly the catalyst for industrialized animal agriculture.
With rates of urbanization constantly expanding worldwide, supermarket retailing is developing rapidly, reaching rates of 20% per year in countries like China, India, and Vietnam. This has a significant influence in food consumption patterns in general and demand for animal products in particular.
New records for meat consumption are reached every year, including the average consumer eating about 100 kilograms of red meat and poultry products throughout the year of 2018 in the US. With this kind of growth in demand, more than 1/3 of the raw resources and fossil fuels utilized in the United States are used to raise animals for food.
Such high demand for animal products, coupled with very little resistance or regulations on meat production, means the economy is a factor that fuels the industrial animal agriculture. Agricultural production has risen in most parts of the world, particularly in the last 50 years, by improving output per unit of land, despite a rather slow expanding land base. This enabled real agricultural production growth of about 2.3% per year and resulted in an agricultural supply that is greater than agricultural demand, to the extent that farm commodity prices turned it down significantly relative to prices generally in the economy.
With current advancements in the technology, there are bound to be innovative solutions to this critical problem. One such solution is cultivated meat, in which scientists create meat through taking small cells of animal cells and growing them in a controlled environment through manipulation of cell density and shaping techniques.
This enables us to provide as much as billions of pounds of the world's meat supply, which means a small island can serve up beefy platters at the same cost and efficiency as a continent with wide plains, promoting both SDG 2 and 12. Moreover, since developing the first prototypes, companies have been able to reduce production costs by 99%.
Alternatively, the production cycle for animal products itself may be sustainably revolutionized. The key to meeting global demand for animal products without imposing harms on the environment lies in developing and maintaining fertile and rich soil. In doing so, it then acts as a very effective carbon and methane sink. Methanotrophic bacteria found only in pasture soil can oxidize 30 million million metric tons of the methane that the cattle emits per year, a process which does not occur in industrial farms, therefore promoting SDG 13 and 15. Furthermore, every step in the natural grazing process enhances soil fertility, from eating across the pasture to releasing manure. Even while soaking in soil, the waste of the cattle aids in decomposing materials that fertilize the soil.
However, to raise cattle by grazing will also mean such high demands for meat production, an efficient strategy for grazing must be adopted. The solution lies in the concept of rotational grazing. That means moving cattle in rotation from paddock to paddock. If well managed, such a grazing program can increase quality forage production by 30 to 70% each year, thus reducing production costs.
In addition, livestock production has increased by 15 to 20%, and some 330 permanent jobs have been created through processing of machinery and production services. Groundwater quality may benefit as well. Rotationally grazed land does not require as many nutrient inputs, which decrease the contaminants entering groundwater, which in return would reduce the blue water footprint.
Furthermore, excess animal manure may be used to replace the burning of fossil fuels, thus reducing GHG emissions. By utilizing the anaerobic digestion of bacteria to transform solid manure into liquid form, methane gas is released within a controlled environment and then collected and transformed into biogas. Producing energy in this way will not only contribute to energy security, but also offers an opportunity to cut carbon emissions by up to 13 million metric tons, which in return reduces climate change.
You see, the solution does not have to be that we boycott meat. Most environmental campaigns call for a complete revolution in our lifestyle choices as the only way to help our planet heal.
And while we absolutely do need to rethink and restructure our lifestyle demands, it is in fact possible to effectively revive our planet by maintaining our harmful production practices, by trading our harmful production practices and habits for more sustainable ones. Is it costly? Yes. Is it
labor intensive? Yes. Is it worth it? You decide.
Thank you very much, Dubai National School Al Barsha Girls. Next presenters are from GEMS United Indian School, Abu Dhabi. Dear juries, the next presenters are from GEMS United Indian School, Abu Dhabi. Hi, Jessica. Just a moment. They're giving you the access now.
Judges, we would like to do a technical check. Is our PPT visible?
Your camera is turned off.
It's on now.
Yes, it's on now.
Okay. Is the PowerPoint visible?
Yes, I can see the PowerPoint now.
Is the camera on?
All
Mic
good?
test.
Are all the team members in?
Ravisha, mic
test. Am I audible?
Yeah. One of my team members is unable to unmute.
Who is that? What's the name?
Evelyn Gigi.
But she's one of the co-hosts. She can unmute herself.
Try. Okay, I'll give you.
All good. Can we please start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Start. No, I can't.
Let's please start, team. We are losing time.
Okay, we're starting in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, viewers. Today's top news. Scientists have determined that industrial animal agriculture
is the greatest threat to humanity. It was proved that animal agriculture is the third leading cause of climate change. Scientific consensus shows that animal agriculture is responsible for 14 to 16% of greenhouse gas emissions and causes significant environmental degradation from biodiversity loss to deforestation. By 2050, farm animal production is projected to emit over 2/3 of the greenhouse gas emission levels considered safe. A savory moment for your mouth, an excellent to our planet. When did we decide to devastate our planet to satisfy our cravings?
What? So now eating meat is also a problem? It doesn't even have that much of an impact. Exactly. Sure, it might be a little unhealthy to consume meat on a daily basis, but impact on climate and environment seems bogus to me.
How ignorant can people of you be? We are raised to wild zombies. I don't expect them to know anything unless someone tweets about it.
Look, we didn't mean to shun you like that. But you must realize all this chicken and meat that you eat aren't naturally caught and slaughtered. They are artificially bred by these huge MNCs, which exploit animals and humans alike. They industrialize animal agriculture. In this process, the hundreds and thousands of animals are confined in small locations. Animal agriculture is also the primary contributor of greenhouse gas emissions, and it can cause significant environmental degradation, from loss of biodiversity to even deforestation. But greenhouse gases in animals, how?
While operating in these industries, toxic pollutants are released into the atmosphere. In processes like animal belching and manure, greenhouse gases like methane are emitted. These potentially disrupt weather, temperature, and ecosystem.
But it's not like we can ask animals to halt their biological functions, but we can demand the better disposal of livestock waste. When these waste go into water bodies, it can increase the growth of algae and weeds, some of which are really toxic. It can hamper the life of aquatic beings.
I hope now you understand how adversely animal agriculture affects the environment and humans.
I never imagined how my eating habits could affect the surroundings like this. Same. This has been really eye-opening.
A few weeks later, the children take on a model UN conference on the topic industrial agriculture and its effect on climate. The children share their newfound knowledge. The chair now calls upon the delegates of India to present their resolution.
Namaste. Animal agriculture is a major contributor to climate change. Keeping this in mind, the delegates of India would like to present to you the following solution. Reminds that the excessive demand for meat is led to industrial animal agriculture. Hence, it encourages conversion to healthy lives by using the psychology of persuasion principles. Consider methane produced by animals to be calcium or waste produced. Therefore, requests all farmers to incorporate purified forages and additives for an ideal animal diet. Urges governments to support companies in Impossible Foods, whose mission is to reverse global warming and to halt disaster biodiversity collapse by eliminating animals as food production technology by 2035. Deplores the inhuman treatment of animals and recognizes animal rights. Therefore, suggests a ban on unauthorized growth hormones and seeks cooperation from industries by recognizing animal rights. Draws attention towards the water pollution caused by mismanagement of animal waste. Proclaims proper animal waste management through existing and new technologies. Also establishes the Kendriya Pashu Sanstha, central animal organization, to ensure strict adherence to all animal agriculture laws.
endorses financial help to the discussing sector by designating 1% of the annual budget to fund research. Also calls upon citizens and residents to suggest solutions to the issue and awards the best solutions under the Pashu Sanrakshan Abhiyan Animal Protection Campaign. The Republic of India asks your cooperation. Over to the chair.
Thank you, delegates. Are there any questions on the floor?
Can you please elaborate on the ideal diet plan? All right. Ruminants have methanogens, which are microbes that are present in their body for fermentation of their food. So as a byproduct of the fermentation, methane is released. Low-fiber forages are more digestible, and additives, oils and tannins, also inhibit methane production. Therefore, eating the diet will be healthy for the environment.
Delegate, how will such financially smart solutions be implemented in developing nations?
Respected delegate, countries such as ourselves, the US and UK, have a high GDP. Therefore, we are capable of helping such low-income countries, and I believe we must reach out to them and ensure that they can implement these solutions as well.
That is fine.
Congratulations, delegates. We've reached a successful resolution.
The meeting is now adjourned.
Today, we cross this whole how industrialized operations that combine hundreds of thousands of population.
Factory farms and slaughterhouses pose a tremendous threat to air, water, wildlife, our climate, and a healthy environment.
This industrial production model is causing serious environmental harm, and to keep their words,
A savory moment for your mouth, a detriment to the planet. When did we decide to jeopardize the planet to satisfy our cravings? Thank you.
Thank you, GEMS United Indian School Abu Dhabi. Please, I would like to call on the next presenters from Al Shalama Abu Dhabi. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Al Shalama Abu Dhabi.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أساتذتي الأفاضل، الحضور الكريم، تحية عطرة. وبعد أحدثكم اليوم عن موضوع الزراعة الحيوانية والصناعية باسم مدرسة الشهامة للتعليم الثانوي، وباسمي مريم الجنيبي وفاطمة أبو حمد ومريم الحمادي ومهر الحسني، طالبات صف 11، ونتمنى أن ينال هذا الموضوع إعجابكم.
أيها الحضور الكرام، سأتحدث لكم اليوم عن تطور الزراعة في دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة، والذي كان للشيخ زايد رحمه الله الفضل الكبير في ذلك، حيث أصبحت تعتمد على استخدام التقنيات الحديثة بعد أن كان يستخدم فيها الطرق البدائية.
والآن سأبدأ أنا بمفهوم الزراعة الحيوانية، وماذا المقصود بها؟ فماذا يعني بقولنا الزراعة الحيوانية؟ هي تربية الحيوانات أو علم الاعتناء بالحيوانات الداجنة وتوليدها، بما في ذلك الأبقار، الأحصنة والدجاج والماعز أو أي حيوان آخر يستخدم كمصدر الطعام أو الموارد.
أهمية الزراعة في تربية الحيوانات. بذلت دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة جهوداً كبيراً لتنمية القطاع الزراعي، والذي سيؤدي إلى الحفاظ على الثروة الحيوانية من خلال عملية إنتاج وتصدير المنتجات الحيوانية، وهذا يؤكد على أهمية الزراعة للإنسان والحيوان،
وتأثيرها على زيادة اقتصاد الدولة. مريم, your microphone is muted.
والآن نستطيع أن نتعرف معا كيف يمكن أن نهتم بالزراعة الحيوانية وما هي أفضل طريقة مناسبة للعناية، وإليكم بعض أهم الطرق المتبعة في الحفاظ عليها. أولاً، المتابعة الحالة الصحية هي من أهم الأمور التي يجب أخذها بعين الاعتبار عند الرغبة في تربية الحيوانات. ثانياً، العمل على تعوية الناس بأهمية الثورة الحيوانية وأهمية المحافظة على البيئة وسلامتها. ثالثاً، منع وقف العمليات الصيد الجائر وذلك لوقف عمليات الانقراض والندر. رابعاً وليس أخيراً، تقديم الأغذية المناسبة في الوقت المناسب.
مفهوم التصنيع الزراعي هو استثمار في الموارد الزراعية مثله كمثل الاستثمار في الاقتصاد، لكن هنالك نتائج مترتبة على مستثمر التصنيع الزراعي مثل التغير المناخي وتقلبه وموسمية الإنتاج. هذا كله يعتبر من مخاطر الخسارة على المستثمر، لكن عندما نتطرق إلى الجانب الإيجابي نرى أن هنالك عدد جيد من المستثمرين الذين نجحوا في هذا المجال، وهذا يعتبر مؤشر إيجابي وتم تصدير إنتاجهم إلى دول العالم.
تعمل الزراعة الصناعية كمحرك أساسي للتنمية، كما أثبتت أنها الحل الأمثل لنقص الأراضي الخصبة في الدولة، لأنها تركز على زيادة الإنتاجية الزراعية بشكل كبير، وتؤدي هذه العملية إلى توفير المزيد من الغذاء لعدد متزايد من السكان.
مستقبل الزراعة الصناعية. كما شغل الذكاء الاصطناعي العالم والمستقبل القريب، أرى أن الصناعة الزراعية هو فرع من فروع الذكاء الاصطناعي، ويمكننا أن نسميه بالذكاء الزراعي، حيث يتم توليد طاقات تستخدم الذكاء الاصطناعي والروبوتات والابتكار بتطوير هذا المجال. أرى الصناعة الزراعية مستقبلاً كبير في المستقبل من خلال الثورة المستقبلية القادمة، والتي سوف تحصل في السنوات المعدودات القادمة، وسوف يتم الإقبال على دراسة بما يسمى علم الصناعة الزراعية أكثر، وهذا عامل إيجابي يزيد ويحفز الإنتاجية المتوقعة.
الزراعة واحدة من أكبر المساهمين في تغير المناخ، ولكن يمكن أن تكون أيضاً جزءاً من الحل. أولت دولة الإمارات جهوداً حثيثة لتحقيق استدامة القطاع الزراعي والثروة الحيوانية في الدولة، حيث تقع في حزام المناطق الجافة، وتشكل البيئة الصحراوية أكثر من 3/4 المساحة الكلية للدولة، وتتسم بيئتها بقلة الأمطار وارتفاع درجات الحرارة، وكلها عوامل كان لها تأثير واضح على القطاع الزراعي والثروة الحيوانية في الدولة، فهما يشكلان عنصراً مهماً للأمن الغذائي والاقتصاد الوطني على سواء.
التشابه بين الزراعة الحيوانية والصناعية. من أوجه التشابه بين الزراعة الحيوانية والصناعية ما يأتي: تعتبران استثماراً خاضعاً للربح والخسارة، تعتبران من أسباب الاستدامة، تشتملان على تربية الحيوانات، تعتبران مصدراً مهماً للتجارة والتصدير.
الاختلاف، وها نحن قد اقتربنا إلى النهاية. سوف أناقش معكم نقطتنا الأخيرة لليوم، وهي نقاط الاختلاف بين الزراعة الحيوانية والصناعية. وهنالك بعض النقاط حاولنا اختزالها فيما يأتي. أولاً، الأساليب المستخدمة والمستهدفة في الزراعة الصناعية مختلفة جداً عن الحيوانية. الصناعة الحيوانية هي رعاية للحيوانات، بينما الزراعة الصناعية هي إنتاج واسع للمحاصيل والحيوانات. الزراعة الصناعية تشمل استخدام المضر والروتيني للمضادات الحيوانية أو الحيوية.
الحضور الكريم، الأساتذة الكرام، نشكر لكم على إتاحة هذه الفرصة للقائكم في مناقشة موضوعات تهم دولتنا وتهم مستقبلنا، ونتمنى أن نبقى على تواصل لنأخذ بيد بلدنا إلى أعلى مراتب العلا والتقدم. نتمنى أن يكون قد نال الموضوع إعجابكم ونكون قد أعطيناه حقه من الشرح والتفصيل، وأما إذا أتممناه فهو توفيق من الله. أستودعكم الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, team. Please, I would like to call on Ras Al Khaimah American Academy. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Ras Al Khaimah American Academy.
What if one day climate change took over? The Earth we love now will look nothing of what we know now. It'll truly be a devastating sight. We are the seniors of Ras Al Khaimah American Academy, and we will discuss the major contributors to climate change. Do you think the effect of animal agriculture on climate change will be a problem for you in your lifetime? Animal agriculture and climate change are in the news these days, from cows with high methane farts and burps to cars and airplanes. As we know, the world needs to reduce emissions from fossil fuels and agriculture to sufficiently rein in global warming. It's easy to debate to become polarized, as it is with so many things in the public sphere.
People think that climate change affects their stocks, but did they think of the fact that animal agriculture also affects? And don't forget, although animal-based foods production is improving, forests are still being cleared for additional grazing. Even though many claim that they wish to eat more vegetables, meat consumption continues to rise. All of these facts are true, even if they appear to be conflicting. This is what makes the debate between animal-based meals and sustainability so complicated and controversial. Alia, how does animal agriculture contribute to climate change?
As they digest grasses and plants, cows and other ruminant animals such as goats and sheep release methane, a strong greenhouse gas. This is known as anaerobic fermentation, and it's what causes cows to burp. Manure also emits methane and nitrous oxide, another powerful greenhouse gas, is also released by ruminant waste on pasture and chemical fertilizers used on cattle feed crops. Indirectly, but not less importantly, increased animal agriculture uses more land. Cutting down trees to make new pasture land is a common practice that releases carbon dioxide that has been stored in forests. So Mahra, is animal agriculture more resource intensive than plant agriculture?
Animal agriculture necessitates the use of land, which comes with carbon costs. In general, animal agriculture consumes more resources than plant agriculture. And animal-based consumables consume more resources than plant-based diets. Animal agriculture consumes 20 times the amount of land and emits 20 times the amount of greenhouse gases per gram of edible protein than ordinary plant proteins like beans. While the majority of the world's grasslands are incapable of growing crops or trees, these natural grasslands are already heavily used for livestock production, implying that increased animal agriculture demands will certainly increase forest pressure.
As you can see on this bar graph, the emissions from animal agriculture is exponentially greater than the plant agriculture. Can animal agriculture be produced more sustainably?
So animal agriculture emits a wide range of emissions around the world, and advances in animal agriculture efficiency can significantly reduce land use and emissions per pound of meat, improve feed quality and veterinary care, as well as enhanced animal breeds that convert feed more efficiently into meat and milk, and improved management practices such as rotational grazing can boost production and soil health while lowering emissions. By minimizing the demand for extra pasture land, increasing productivity can relieve strain on tropical forests. But what is the UAE's involvement in animal agriculture?
Sustainable agriculture is an economic and social necessity for our country, said by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, ruler of Dubai, in which this quote indicates the importance of sustainable animal agriculture. That is why in the United States and United Arab Emirates invested $4 billion in an initiative launched last year to make animal agriculture resilient to climate change and reduce its emissions. The two countries launched the Agriculture Innovation Mission for Climate at the United Nations Climate Change Conference. How does climate change affect animal agriculture, Riazi Ahmed?
Climate change may affect animal agriculture in a variety of ways. These include the ability to produce feed grain, animal health, growth, and reproduction. Animals must save or shed heat to remain productive when temperatures are outside of their optimal range. Animals' core body temperatures are typically kept between 2 and 3 degrees Celsius. Body temperature of more than 2 degrees Celsius to 3 degrees Celsius impair performance in many species, limiting the ability of an animal to produce meat, milk, or eggs. Animals' development and reproduction rates may be slowed because of these changes. Climate change-related temperature variations may have an impact on animal agricultural productivity as a result of these effects.
Animal agriculture is not a small contributor to climate change, but it's a major contributor. It can be produced more sustainably, so stop waiting and start doing. And you have to do it now because time is running. Climate change due to animal agriculture is increasing right now as we speak. We must take actions. There's no question that the #1 contributor to climate change is animal agriculture. The quickest way to make an effect is to immediately start on a sustainable diet. Change your lifestyle, change your life. Every small action matters because when 7 billion people do that thing, it then changes the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for our first set of presenters. Please give a big round of applause to yourselves for all those lovely presentations. So we will now have a quick break and we will be back around 10:15 a.m. So make sure that the next team is ready. Okay. I repeat, 10:15 a.m. Dear judges, teachers, and students, welcome back and let us continue with the presentations under the topic Industrial Animal Agriculture, a compelling contributor to climate change. Now I invite the next school on screen to present, the British School Al Kubayrat Abu Dhabi. The British School Al Kubayrat Abu Dhabi. Dear juries, the next presenters are from the British School Al Kubayrat Abu Dhabi.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right, we're going to begin in 3, 2, 1. Hi, everyone. My name is Shahad, and along with Zoya, Shreya, and Jennifer, we're going to be talking about industrial animal agriculture. 1.6 billion tons is the annual greenhouse gas emissions from vehicles. The spotlight is on us to invest our lives into solving the climate crisis, but the tip of the blade is merely sitting on the surface.
We must cast our eyes on the 9.3 billion tons of emissions from agriculture. The blade plunges deeper. This is cataclysmic, but there are no global reforms. We bid Mother Nature adieu as we wordlessly destroy her. Why?
The evidence is there, the statistics are there, and yet what fails to appear time and time again is recognition. Today, recognition is what BSAC is bringing to the table.
We are here to provide solutions that could mitigate against animal agriculture, a determinant of the crisis. We are here to be the change that the future so desperately needs.
We must establish what differentiates the gases coming from farming, rice fields, and the meat industry. That's right. The food we take for granted are major contributors to the 50% of methane emissions alone.
There's also nitrous oxide from soil bacteria's exchange with fertilizers. All in all, industry accounts for 10% of N2O in the atmosphere, and that figure is only getting bigger. Then we have the infamous queen bee of GHGs, carbon dioxide. CO2 mainly arises from operations or is embedded in inputs such as tractor fuel and the transportation of fertilizer.
But why must we differentiate? The key word is action. Knowing where these deadly gases originate will allow us to finally act and conquer. It will assist global efforts in finding methods to reduce emissions, helping countries such as the UAE reach the goals set in climate change conferences like COP21. There won't just be words, there will be action.
Let's set the scene. A pistol to an innocent creature, Emirati's companion. A shot that takes a camel's life only done because of methane? Unbelievable. We should nurture those who walk thousands of miles hindered by our weight. Such a powerful bond should not be broken, for our country was built on their grounds.
The antagonist is what gives these camels the ability to produce methane, carbohydrates. Yes, it's time for the camels to cut carbs just like us. We need methane-reducing additives for their food. An example being oil, which we have plenty of.
Something else we can add is going to absolutely blow your mind, because it definitely made my jaw drop. Wait for it. Seaweed. The addition of seaweed to their food reduces the amount of methane they produce while making their milk and meat even better. I can't believe we were this close to this solution. Like I'm sure some of you run on sushi.
At the hands of ruthless industrialists, animals are hauled into abattoirs, powerless to torture and cruelty. How can we encourage the mutilation of fragile creatures, chickens debeaked, cows tailed off, unable to roam endless acres as their ancestors could? Do you want to prevent animals from being restricted to an area the size of your laptop? Then encourage companies to act like alien farms, who ensure the well-being of all 15,000 of their livestock. Also, our climate is facing colossal consequences. Factory farming is intensive agriculture targeted at maximizing profits through swiftly turning livestock into products. Therefore, farmers must grow vast amounts of feed, primarily achieved through deforestation to grow crops, where fertilizers are used.
However, you are also crucial components in our mission to preserve animals and the planet. The answer to the climate catastrophe is shockingly simple yet impactful: cutting down meat consumption. If you are terrified of veganism, don't worry. Perhaps consider the occasional meatless Monday, and together we can end the barbarity that is factory farming.
Every action is more consequential than we will ever know. Our current activity with climate change is gradually destroying a whole other world underneath the ocean.
Dumping fertilizers and animal sewage waste into water provides the conditions for eutrophication. But do you know what happens once these plants die? They decay, and the decomposers respire, taking up all the oxygen in the water. Soon enough, a sea of dead fish could be the very image greeting you at your next beach trip.
But it's not just marine life taking a hit, it's all of us suffering. It is we who have plenty to lose and not enough to give. The chemicals we put into the food of the animal industry is what we ingest, the very thing that could be sending us to an early grave.
Potentially worse than the possibility of bioaccumulation is the risk of zoonotic diseases.
Haven't we already had enough of global lockdowns and social distancing? Do we really need to subject ourselves and the future generation to another life behind concrete walls?
All these years of learning chemistry in school, and we were oblivious to the fact that it is undoubtedly our savior. Reacting methane with oxygen produces water, heat, and CO2. And we haven't even considered what we could accomplish with these products until now. Water remains unquestioned for blatant reasons. However, the heat produced can be used instead of combusting fossil fuels for energy that can be used to grow warm season crops during the winter.
Now, when dealing with CO2, carbon capture and storage is very effective. Once the CO2 is produced, we can lock it up into nature's own cage, porous rocks. Just like that, not only have we killed two birds with one stone, but also maimed the nest in which the catastrophe of climate change lingers.
Action is what we hope to consolidate. We have a future awaiting us, but without action, that future will pass by before we can rejoice in it.
No more neglect.
No more naivety.
No more nonsense.
Conceit has forged the menacing knife that plunges deeper below Earth's surface. The remedy to the fatal wounds we have so selfishly inflicted is not delivered to us on a silver platter. It is one that we must serve. Thank you.
Thank you, team. Please, I would like to call on Al Yasmina Academy Dubai. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Al Yasmina Academy Dubai.
Hi, could I be given a co-host?
Yes, you are all a co-host.
Okay, good evening. I'm Isa Haddad, and I'm representing Al Yasmin Academy. And with me today are Salim, Leen, and Ahmed, and we're going to be talking about industrial animal agriculture. What are the reasons of the climate changing from animal agriculture? Industrial animal agriculture requires large lands, which are usually obtained by the conversion of forests into agricultural land and livestock ranches, which is one of the major causes of deforestation. Moreover, raising livestock generates about 14.5% of the global greenhouse emissions yearly. So this means that of all the emissions in the planet, livestock is 14.5% of it, and that's a big amount. And cows are responsible for about 40% of global methane emissions themselves. That's just one animal, and they're emitting a lot of methane emissions. And methane is actually a lot more potent than carbon dioxide, and is like 28 times worse than carbon dioxide. And furthermore, ammonia production contributes towards 1.2% of global carbon emissions. And ammonia is the resource that is used to create the fertilizers which grow plants and crops around the planet. Next, Salim will talk about what the consequences of climate change, of agriculture are on the climate, and about cows.
It shows that when cows eat food, they release 40% of the methane, and when they burp, this is what creates all the methane. And as Isa said, that cows create 40% of the methane, which really affects the climate change and increases pollution. Also, scientists show that cows that are fed seaweed create less pollution and take out less methane. What are the consequences of climate change? There are major sources that contribute to agriculture pollution and to the rivers: agriculture residues, fertilizers and pesticides, animal husbandry, and excess salt from applied irrigation water.
Next, Leen will talk about the climate change's impacts on the food system.
It will decrease food yields as it will stunt the growth of crops, which will result in the decline in the size and quality of produce, and consumers will see higher prices for local food, and also there will be limited ability for washing the food, and so it may produce may lead to sanitation and health issues for consumers. Rising sea levels can cause destructive erosion and wetland flooding and agriculture soil contamination with salt, which will affect the growth of the crops, which will ultimately lead to crop yield. Increased levels of CO2, which is a greenhouse gas, will reduce the food nutritional quality, and the rapid increase of CO2 levels is threatening the ability of agriculture to exceed their ability of agriculture to adapt.
One way animal agriculture may change is that animal agriculture releases two of the most important gases, which are methane and nitrous dioxide. These two gases influence the globe 28 times more than carbon dioxide, and obviously with the population rapidly growing, the consumption of red meat will increase, which will most likely allow the animal agriculture and animal companies to release more gases. This also may cause damages to the overall infrastructure in the UAE. Now I'm going to talk to you about the stop increase in climate change. One way as a community that we can reduce the release of these greenhouse gases is by eating less red meat, and also that we practice reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by, for example, using a bus or using the same method of transport as a friend, going to the same location, for example, school. And this will help us work together and improve our society.
Thank you for listening to the representatives of Al Yasmin Academy about agriculture.
Thank you, team. Please, I would like to call on Applied Technology High School, Abu Dhabi. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Applied Technology High School, Abu Dhabi.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Today, we'll discuss a topic that has aroused the interest. Of many individuals, specifically scientists and geologists around the world, whether industrial animal agriculture is a significant contributor to climate change, which is major changes in temperature, precipitation, and wind patterns, among other effects that occur for several decades or longer. Industrial animal agriculture, also known as intensive animal farming, is where animals are farmed in large quantities for meat, milk, eggs, and other products to be kept as human livestock. As a result, we've taken their roles and attempted to reach a conclusion to this matter.
Through various research, we have discovered that our planet has been through constant climate changes. Through our research, we have discovered that our planet has been through constant changes ever since before we even existed and found ways to fend for ourselves. We, the only intelligent species on this planet, have been able to increase the rate of temperature by 0.8 degrees a decade to double its amount starting from 1981. But who is at fault here? Is it us or is it the animals? Speaking of, industrial animal agriculture is an enormous contributor to this crisis. The domesticated species that are being bred and forced to reproduce for the optimum amount of meat and quality of milk and eggs are losing their genetic diversity. This loss is directly affecting and destroying our ecosystems. But why should we care about our ecosystems? It's not as if these ecosystems are helping by regulating our gas emissions coming from atmosphere to help protect us against various extreme weather events.
Have you ever thought about how raising livestock can negatively affect the environment? Animal agriculture is the leading cause of resource consumption and environmental degradation destroying the planet today. According to the United Nations, raising livestock produces greenhouse gases like methane from cows and other farmed animal digestive systems that are more destructive than the emissions of all cars, trucks, trains, boats, and planes combined. It produces the world's nitrous oxide, which is 296 times greater than CO2. Therefore, even without using any gas or oil or fuel ever again from this day forward, we would still exceed our maximum carbon equivalent greenhouse gases emission, simply by raising and eating livestock. Yet all we hear about is fossil fuels. Let's not forget about the harm and violence that these animals endure in these farming houses. For example, chickens. 42-day-old chickens are genetically bred and manipulated to force grow faster. which makes them bear painful leg problems and ammonia burns and respiratory diseases and heart attacks. Some birds are buried alive with other chicken corpses if disease is not big enough / profitable. In the dairy industry, cows which are confined to indoor operations and tethered by the neck inside stalls are unable to perform the most basic behaviors for their essential well-being. Cows will be separated from their moms to maximize profit, and cows are artificially and forcibly impregnated every year.
The way climate change and animal agriculture are related is that the whole method of producing animal products emits greenhouse gases. Beginning with the massive amount of crops that must be grown and extracted to feed animals. Animal agriculture requires much more territory of land than if we only ate plant-based foods. Because several crops are required and wasted. Animal agriculture, in fact, consumes 83% of our farmland while providing only 18% of our caloric intake. These territories of land have to come from somewhere, and very often it comes from nature, making animal agriculture a major cause of deforestation. In connections with future population growth and changes in food habits favoring increased meat consumption, global food consumption is expected to grow roughly by 70% in the upcoming years. Agriculture is already one of the most environmentally damaging economic sectors. This significant increase in demand will consistently create extra increasing pressure.
We as a group have come up with some solutions that were generated through our research on the topics. One of the solutions we're offering today is that animal agriculture should be done more organically. No more chains or confinement to forced breeding or cold butchering methods for the animals. No more hormones or steroids given to them for mass production, but having them be free range, roaming around freely on their own and giving out more natural produce to be sold to consumers. Another solution we offer is that governments make educational programs that help spread awareness about the topic to the general public. The government should also put laws and regulations that local farms are to abide by. The chapter should include laws about animal cruelty and torture, butchering methods, forced breeding, dietary habits, steroid and hormone injections, and land parameters. The government should also make regular checkups on local farms to ensure that they are acting in accordance with the law. One more solution that could work is that we as Muslims can expand the knowledge about the Islamic way of butchering, which is a quick strike of a surgically sharp instrument that cuts the throat of the animal cleanly. That way, the animal will die instantly with very minimal pain. In conclusion, although everyone knows the nutrients and benefits of live produce, that is meat, eggs, and dairy products, to be able to get these produces, not only do the animals go through an inhumane process, but the process itself is also harmful to the environment, as it emits damaging and destructive gases that only expedite the climate change, in which worsens the global warming phenomenon. And as a result, our planet Earth is starting to die in a slow but sure process.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, team. Please, I would like to call on Al Sadiq Islamic English School. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Al Sadiq Islamic English School.
A very delightful morning to each one of you present here. I, Maham Asif, along with my team, would like to throw light on the industry of animal agriculture and its contribution to the climate change. The Earth's changing climate is likely to alter living conditions on this planet dramatically and sooner than expected. Though much of the world is focused on transitioning away from fossil fuels as a way to fight climate change, there is another often overlooked climate change culprit, which is animal agriculture and its effective or problematic environmental impacts. Agriculture emits an estimated of 10.5% of the whole US. A scientific legal agreements and census shows that animal agriculture is responsible for 14 to 15% of global greenhouse gas emissions and causes significant environmental degradation as they trap heat and contribute to respiratory diseases from smoke and air pollutions. So moving on, I call Mufazi and Fatima Fahmy to introduce the negative outcomes of the industrial animal agriculture on the climate change.
Starting off with the social impact of industrial animal agriculture, its practice degrades our natural resources, causing air and water pollution. The intensive use of harmful agrochemicals such as herbicides, pesticides, and insecticides also reduce the quality of the soil. In a blog written by Footprint, which is a project launched by Grace Communication Foundation to create awareness on environmental and public health issues, it has been stated that the air emissions from these livestock operations make up about 14.5% of the greenhouse gas emissions. Industrial animal agriculture is also considered a major source of pollution. In a report written by Joan Eckert, who is a former professor in the University of Missouri in Columbia, it has been written by him that the industrial animal agriculture is one of the major contributors to the increase in pollution, releasing 20% more of the greenhouse gas emissions as compared to that of transport. Another problem that arises with intensive farming on a large scale is the requirement of harmful chemicals and heavy farming machinery. And once machinery gets put into picture, the requirement of a cheap and reliable energy source is demanded, such as fossil fuels. Now, with industrial agriculture increasingly becoming dependent on fossil energy, large amounts of carbon emissions are released into the atmosphere, eventually causing a concerning amount of increase in climate change.
Now, with the environmental impact, it is one of the contributors to global warming, as animals housed by concentrated animal feeding operations produce massive amounts of methane, nitrous oxide, and ammonia, which lead to trapping the sun heat, which is known as greenhouse effect. This increases the overall temperature of the Earth, leading to global warming. Furthermore, it poses a serious threat to invertebrates and insects that work to maintain the soil fertility and recycle plant, thus increasing the use of artificial fertilizers to replace the natural enrichment process of the soil. Finally, yet importantly, industrial agriculture exposes nutrient-rich topsoil that increases the speed of erosion, causing the eroded land to lose nutrients and runs the risk of becoming a desert. And the eroded soil move into waterways, causing clogs and driving pollution. In conclusion, industrial agriculture plays a major role in today's times of pollution, natural disaster, and many other serious issues. Hence, it is not a sustainable, environmentally friendly procedure.
Greetings, my name is Nuran, and I'm honored to address this meeting, which is dealing with key issues shared by governments and countries dealing with major industrial agriculture, namely raising awareness, information, integration, and variety of ethical solutions. Gobar gas plant can be created from animal manure. It's a non-polluting energy source, which is also renewable, therefore reducing the emission of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Moreover, animal dung can also be used. Animal dung can also be made into dung cakes. For instance, cow dung cakes can be used as a fuel source and fertilizer. It can be made into paper, thus reducing deforestation. Using cow dung as a feedstock, biogas is produced by decomposing cow dung anaerobically. Creating biogas from cow dung is quite simple. Build a biodigester, then fill it with water and leave it isolated. Feeding additives or supplements can reduce the emission of methane from ruminant livestock. Livestock produce significant amounts of methane as part of their normal digestive processes. Some feed additives can inhibit the microorganisms that produce methane in the rumen and subsequently reduce methane emissions. An example of a feed additive is essential oils, a group of phytogenic feed additives, also known as PFA. They're considered to be a cost-effective and a safe alternative to antibiotics as growth promoters, as well as grinding and pelleting of forages increases passage rate and reduces methane emissions. Various studies have demonstrated that fat has an inhibitory effect on microbes that produces methane. Introducing more beneficial solutions will be the honor of my teammate Sumaya.
One of the many ways we can increase the digestibility of cattle is by using legumes or corns as feed, which in turn will produce less methane than the grass-fed cattle. Research has also shown that the use of seaweed as feed for the livestock results in a depletion of 82% in the production of greenhouse gases. Manure management is also an important part of the puzzle. There are two possible biological processes that are involved in the breaking down of manure. One of them releases carbon dioxide, while the other releases methane. And although CO2 is a greenhouse gas, aerobic processes that produce carbon dioxide are desired over anaerobic processes. And this is because methane has 25 times the greenhouse gas effect. And a low-cost method solution for this is composting, which reduces the emission of methane by stabilizing the compounds that make up the manure. Surface covers have also been found to be effective technology at reducing greenhouse gas emissions from stored manure. Covers can either be engineered permanent covers or as simple as a straw or a hair. Organic matter, which falls to the top of the lagoon, can also serve the purpose of a natural cover. As we all are aware, that gases such as methane are posing serious threat to mankind as well as other living beings. It is high time we take the necessary steps to reduce its emission and save life on planet Earth. And with that, I conclude our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, team. Please, I would like to call on Dubai Modern Education School. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Dubai Modern Education School.
Okay, greetings everyone. So my name is Ragad Sama Hamdan, and I'm going to present along with Noor, Sidin, and Buti. We're going to represent our school DMES, and we're supervised under our dear teachers, Ms. Inas and Mr. Karim. So today's topic will be about industrial animal agriculture. So food as a necessity. Getting food requires animals. But animals' growth is unsustainable, which literally means we can't eat food without harming the environment. And how is the food we eat unsustainable? How is it harming the environment? Well, yeah, it is harming the environment, and there are two main reasons. One, it impacts the environment very terribly. And two, it depletes non-renewable resources. Now, how is the food and in what way is the food we eat unsustainable? So think about it this way. One day you went to the hypermarket. Now the process to get the food there, and it required, the process to get the food there required fossil fuels, non-renewable mineral resources, depletion of groundwater, and soil loss. So let me sum this all up. Animal agriculture is one of the most important reasons for climate change. But there is a problem, which is that animal agriculture is not taken seriously. And so achieving mitigation strategies and transitioning to more plant-centric food systems is actually kind of difficult.
And now I will introduce to you the dangers to air and water resources from the industrial animal operation. The industrial animal operation releases a variety of pollution as it includes ammonia and hydrogen sulfate and many more. One of the main causes of deforestation is animal harvesting. Land that affects the climate change, which is harmful for us, thus increasing pollution and greenhouse effect through the increase of forest and intake lands that are permitted only for harvesting. Some facts about animal agriculture and climate change. Some of the facts that we can use is shifting from livestock production to more sustainable option that is trying plant-based agriculture. that would support a just transaction in the agriculture animal sector. Encouraging growth in plant-based alternatives would help facilitate the positive change into animal agriculture. Studies have shown and experts found that dietary shifts could contribute up to 1/5 of the mitigation needed to hold warming below 2 Celsius.
Industrial animal agriculture isn't just bad for animals and the environment, it's bad for the human as well, because of the toxic fumes that come from cleaning chemicals, viruses, and the toxic air that they breathe. And the animal agriculture could cause serious problems such as water pollution, soil erosion. Why is it bad for the environment? Because it strives to change the climate by using a lot amount of fresh water and destroy wildlife habitat.
Now, integrating livestock with crops and trees is critical for reducing the environmental footprint of controlled grazing of animal-based dietary products. Controlled grazing, called live farming, and agroforestry are examples of integrated farming systems. Other important considerations are adopting multiple GHG perspectives and managing waste prudently. The trend of increasing consumption of animal products has a negative impact on ecosystems and on water sources. In particular, in developing countries, the water pollution is caused by animal antibiotics and hormones, fertilizers, and pesticides used in forage production and rainfall runoff from pasture. Our recommendation for this is to increase forest trees, cultivation, and locate lands that are permitted only for animal harvest. Thank you for listening, and let's join a hand to make a difference.
Thank you, students. Please, I would like to call on Springdale School, Dubai. Dear juries, the next presenters are from Springdale School, Dubai.
Climate change, a word everyone has heard in today's day and age. Cliche it is indeed. Climate change reminds us of long-term shifts in weather patterns and the production of harmful greenhouse gases. Now, let's see this from a common man's perspective and farmers in the form of a short story narration.
This is the story of Mahesh, a struggling journalist originally from a small village who is now searching for his big break in a media company in the city.
Mahesh is a diligent worker who has been searching for a serious topic to bring up with the public for a long time.
One fine day, while Mahesh was sitting down at a tea stall, he came across a rally with posters and slogans on climate change and animal agriculture. The environmentalists were displaying facts about the environment to the people.
Now talking about the agricultural emissions, they are mainly made up of methane and nitrous oxide. 75 to 80% of agricultural emissions are caused by
industrial animal agriculture, a compelling contributor to climate change. Our topic for today. A major study was carried out by Oliver Millman in 2021. The research found that the use of cows, pigs, and other animals for food is responsible for 57% of all food emissions, with only 29% coming from the cultivation of plant-based foods.
One of the other important points being that the difference in emissions between meat and plant production is stark. To produce 1 kg of wheat, 2.5 kg of greenhouse gases are emitted. A single kilo of beef, meanwhile, creates 70 kg of emissions. On the side is a chart which depicts the comparison between animal-based foods and plant-based foods.
According to a study from Stanford University, phasing out animal agriculture over the next 15 years would have the same effect as a 68% reduction of carbon dioxide emissions through the year 2100. Worldwide, the top 20 meat and dairy corporations produce more greenhouse gas emissions than the whole of Germany.
The amount of fossil fuels burned varies depending on the species and type of animal product. Of all the agricultural land in the US, 80% is used to raise animals for food and grow grain to feed them. That's almost half the total land mass of the lower 48 states. And on top of that, nearly half of all the water used in the US goes to raising animals for food.
Some important pointers from the United Nations are crop yield losses as a result of climate change will be more severe in the tropics than in temperate regions. More than 88 billion land animals are bred, raised, and slaughtered for food every single year.
According to UNEP, as humans, meat production is one of the most destructive ways in which humans leave their footprint on the planet.
Mahesh was in deep thought for a while after he met the environmentalists. As he was losing hope on the search for his topic, he left for his village.
He couldn't believe his eyes when he saw that deforestation was taking place due to animal agriculture and husbandry, which was being practiced in his village.
Mahesh was shocked and also felt that his childhood memories had died with this. The sky, which was once full of stars, was now polluted. A land once lush green was now impotent. He actually felt that the cost of environmental change wasn't paid by those who enjoyed lavish lives, but was paid by the tears of those farmers whose lives had been destroyed.
Then it hit him. All of this has one solution, a revolution where everyone contributes by understanding this pain. This could eventually make everyone environmentally conscious, and his project was now the medium for spreading this. After this deep thought of a change, Mahesh started his research without delay. He went throughout the village and saw every farmer's condition and took interviews of different farmers.
To spread awareness and to look into the problem from a real perspective of a farmer, our team interviewed an Indian farmer, Mr. Babu, to ask some important questions and spread the truth.
बाबू आपका नाम क्या है?
बाबरमल गाडरी।
आप की खेत कहाँ पे है?
उदयपुर।
उदयपुर। तो फिर आप कितने साल से खेती कर रहे हैं?
खेती तो हम बचपन से कर रहे थे।
बचपन से?
हाँ जी।
अच्छा ठीक है।
5-6 साल के थे तब से खेत में जाते हैं।
कौन सा किस चीज की खेती करते हैं आप?
गेहूँ और सरसों।
गेहूं और सरसों। वैसे बाबू भैया आपको मौसम के अंदर क्या बदलाव दिख रहा है पहले से और अब में?
मौसम अभी गर्मी ज्यादा है।
गर्मी ज्यादा लग रही है, तो उससे आपके खेत पे कुछ फर्क पड़ता है?
खेत पे फर्क पड़ता है ना, वो अभी ज्यादा गर्मी होने से फसल का नुकसान होता है।
फसल का नुकसान होता है। कि जो झाड़ कटती है वो वैसे किस रीजन से कटती है, किस वजह से कटती है?
झाड़ क्या है, कोई छाव में कोई फसल नहीं होती, इसके लिए झाड़ कटवाते लोग।
अच्छा।
और झाड़ कटवाने की वजह से गर्मी ज्यादा
जानवर वगैरह रहता है, वो आपकी फसल वगैरह खाते हैं, आपके जगह पे जब रहते हैं फसल खाते हैं, तो उससे आपकी फसल पे कुछ फर्क पड़ता है?
हाँ, नुकसान होता है ना।
After researching, Mahesh set out for his journey back to the city. He was determined and was ready to stand up for the sufferings of the farmers. He went directly to the studio for his first live news telecast.
So now, let's discuss the different SDGs and their relation to animal industrialization. SDG 2 explains how an extra 3.5 billion people could be fed annually if the cereals that will be fed to animals in 2050 were used instead for human consumption. SDG 12 talks about how the governments should develop programs to increase awareness of the ecosystem.
Talking about the 13th SDG, which talks about climate action, it discusses how all sectors need to reduce their emissions. And moving on to the 15th SDG, life on land, discusses how the expansion of farmland into forests leads to the loss of biodiversity, and also overgrazing of lands leads to desertification.
As we have seen the crucial importance of all these SDGs, Mahesh heads towards the conclusion.
Everyone, now let's just think. What is the purpose behind what we are doing? This is not to win a competition, but it's for a much larger and universal purpose. As a simple rule of ethics, when you take something, you give back something. Just as nature does, but humans don't.
Due to rapidly increasing animal agriculture, the soil will be completely depleted by the next 40 years, if not saved right now. Do we really want our generation to suffer for an ounce of bread or a drop of water? Let's work collectively as a society when no force can stop us. And remember, if we have the will, we can change the world.
Just like this one case study, there are millions of other farmers suffering. Our team from Springdale School, Dubai would like to make a change and thank you all for your time and cooperation.
Thank you to all of our presenters today. You have all done an excellent job with your presentations. Please give yourselves a round of applause. So we shall now have the final break while the final scores are being tallied. We will return to announce the results and award the winners at 11:30 a.m. Welcome back to all. So before we begin with the awarding ceremony, let me just go through a few housekeeping points. An email that contains the feedback link will be sent to your teachers after the event. Please note that all the teachers and the students are required to answer this feedback form. Your answers and suggestions in the feedback form will be of great assistance to us when it comes to meeting your expectations for our future events. The crystals and frame certificates of the winning schools will be delivered to the school next week. May I please call on our distinguished judges to present the crystals as our token of appreciation. And of course, our chairperson, Mrs. Habiba Al-Marashi, to present the crystals.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much. Wonderful presentation and very, very passionate teams. It was very impressive to see the way they covered it. Each school, each team have done their homework, good research, and the result was well presented. So thank you very much. Now, we had a wonderful team of jurors yesterday and today, and it gives me great pleasure to say that every single judge who joined us in the course of the 4 days will receive this crystal. It will be delivered to their offices, inshallah, in your place of work. So please, we hope that you will put it on your desk and your tables as a sign of your support with us. So we thank you very much for that. And now,
thank you.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank UNAS. UNAS, can we have you online? Yeah, okay. UNAS, we would like to thank you for your support, and we hope and we pray that you will continue this fruitful partnership with us to enable the student community to excel in their research and in the work and in understanding sustainability issues, and really being part of the solutions that is being prepared in this wonderful country. So this is for UNAS as well. Thank you very much. A big hand to UNAS. Then now we come to the best part of it. As was mentioned early, every single team was a wonderful team, was a winning team. This competition is a very competitive, it's tough, and it gets better as we move along every year. And I, again, do not want to miss an opportunity to thank the teachers. My dear teachers, you have done an incredible job. Thank you very much for all the wonderful work, and the result was very clear from the teams that were presenting. So we will start for the second runner-up for today's topic, which was industrial animal agriculture, a compelling contributor to climate change. Again, it's a very new topic. It's a topic that is not in the forefront, is not mainstreamed yet. It's not an issue that is being discussed openly, widely in different forums and platforms. So we are very delighted to be able to put that across and to see, mashallah, how the student community met our expectations and far exceeded it as well. So the second runner-up in today's topic is Springdale School, Dubai. The first runner-up, Indian School, Al Ain. And the winner of this topic is Dubai National School, Al Barsha Girls. Dubai National School, Al Barsha Girls. I extend my hand to hug all of you, all the teams. Thank you very much. And so that concludes the topic of today. Now we come to the overall, the 4 days. As you saw, mashallah, this year, the competition was 4 days. And alhamdulillah, we managed nicely to deal with the issues. Every day was one topic. Because of Ramadan, we are managing to finish well on time, and students are not tired and they are able to not miss the buses as well as we were told. So we are very, very delighted and happy to have managed the expectations of all our dear school members. So we will start with the second runner-up position. And incredible because the set of judges were completely different in the sub-senior category and in the senior category. So for the overall second runner-up position, there was a tie. We have Dubai National School Al Barsha Boys, and we have Springdale School Dubai. Both of them are in the second runner-up position. The overall first runner-up position was Indian School Al Ain and our own English High School Fujairah. Again, there was a tie in the position of the first runner-up. Incredible. And winners, we come to the winners of the 22nd cycle of the Inter-School Environmental Public Speaking Competition. And it gives me great pleasure to announce Dubai National School Al Barsha Girls as the overall winner of the 2022 cycle. It is the 22nd cycle and it is in the year 2022. So well done. On the screen now, this is the big heavy crystal that will be delivered to Dubai National School Girls, inshallah. And it will, of course, we will emboss your name on it. And well done and congratulations. And again, congratulations to the teachers as well as the students and to the principals. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work because this is what will open the doors for the students to enter the best universities in the world, I promise you. This will show you, this competition prepares our student community for what university is waiting for. What are the topics that will help them find jobs, career paths, succeed in life, and contribute effectively to the solutions of environmental challenges that we are plagued with. So now I will ask the team, thank you very much and congratulations again. I will ask the team to show you on the screen the Excel sheets of today's winners and the Excel sheet of the overall winners for the 2022nd cycle. Please take screenshots so that you have proof. And of course, as we will be sending you thank you letters, you will be receiving how much was your school versus how much was the highest score in that particular topic. Again, my sincere appreciation to all the jury members. Thank you very much for your commitment. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will not be strangers, and we will be able to get you on board our different programs. And again, you will volunteer to be judges in our next cycles, inshallah. You know, we have the same competition in the month of November for the universities and colleges, which is a pan-Arab event that covers universities in all the Arab countries. So I salute you all and I thank you all, and I leave you in the hands of Allah to protect you and preserve you. And I say Eid Mubarak in advance, and may Allah accept your deeds in these wonderful last 10 days of Ramadan. Thank you very much. This is the screen of the Excel sheet, please, to show the scores and the winners. All right. So this is the overall. It's very tough. You can see it. What's happening? All right. Is it clear for everybody? Please take screenshots so that you can share it with your students, with the rest of the school. And my kind request to the teachers is please give your teams another opportunity to present this wonderful work that they have done. You have general assemblies, you have assemblies in the school, you have science sessions, you have different sessions. If you can please allow these students to stand in front of the whole school and give this presentation and show, it will definitely inspire the others as well. And it will teach the others. So the purpose of this platform is to educate and to learn and to inspire. So I hope, inshallah, that will not be the end of this whole beautiful program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What about,
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, dear judges. Thank you, dear teachers. And thank you, my dear students. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Can we show the list of the winners of today?
Today's winners again.
Okay, so this is today's topic, yeah? Yes. And then we'll show the overall. I hope everybody has managed to get the screenshots of it. We will remove this and then we will put the list of the overall winners as well. This is part of our transparency process. Can we ask Gibson to put for us the overall winners? Again, congratulations to all the teams, congratulations. And I would like to thank my team, a wonderful team, a small but very effective and efficient team. They've done a wonderful job. And thank you to all the schools and thank you to all the entities that supported us to ensure the success of this unique, one-of-a-kind program. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. I hope to see you again next year in our 23rd cycle of the Inter-School Environmental Public Speaking Competition. Have a lovely day, everybody.